read.
Any words from Liz or Shelby? Okay, I guess we have somebody taking minutes.
Not coming?
I don't know.
She always walks in a couple minutes
I know.
late.
I know. We can go ahead and start. Well, we don't have.
You're right.
We're ready. We're ready to go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start tonight. We've got a couple of commissioners missing, and I think an applicant too as well. But they have time. Welcome to the November meeting of the Conway Historic District Commission. First, I'll start off with our roll call. I'm Steve Hurd, Chairman.
Emily Walter, Vice Chair.
Margaret West.
Marie Kaysen.
Shane Lind.
And two of we have a quorum, but two of our commissioners are missing. First thing on our agenda we need to talk about are the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have seen them and like to administer.
Make a motion, we approve minutes from last meeting.
Okay.
A second.
A motion second on minutes. Everybody's good with them? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. First thing, if I could, old business needs to come before new business always, and something that I guess if we could get an update on the proposed changes to the way the commission works, will work from 2 months ago. I went to the city council. I
don't know that that's going anywhere else.
Possibly dead, but you don't know for sure?
Oh, as far as I know, it's dead.
Okay. All right. So business as usual as far as things that were going to be affected.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So just I know that those are out there sitting just ready to play, know the rules. But for the record, what we ask for is when you come up for the discussion of your project to give your name and address, where you live here in town and or wherever, and present the project. We'll ask a couple of questions. I'll do the normal asking for pros and cons on it, which might not last that long tonight since there's nobody here. But anyway, we'll go through the process that way. Then we'll discuss it and determine what we determine on each one. So with that, I'm going to propose this or say it or whatever. The first two, A and B on Weems, the two. Well, I was going to combine A and B, for that matter. So I was trying, since they're almost identical as far as recommendations and their neighbors and that kind of thing. So I was trying to streamline it that way, if that's okay. I mean, I don't mind her going first, but I just keep it as in order as we can, would help. I'm fine with it. Yeah. Well, for all of our viewers out there, they may be, got to have it in this order. We don't want to mess with that, but no, let's just do that. We'll just combine A and B, and that'll make it simple. So more simple. So with that, we have the two new construction projects on Weems,
Yes.
2024 and 2022.
Yes. So Nikki Thompson, 2759 Carl Stewart. And yes, this is my second or third attempt, first time to be here to get some houses put on Weems Street. So this was a lot split from the rock house that I previously came before y'all.
Okay.
Weems.
And I'm Cody Ferris, 27 Bluebird Lane, Conway. I'm assisting Nikki tonight.
Who's taking minutes?
I don't know.
I am.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
I was
Sorry.
going to, and then Shelby called me for some reason. So I didn't want to answer in the middle, but then
Yeah, I
it
know.
distracted me.
Do you
Sorry.
think-
Do you want me to call her back?
Oh, at least text her.
I did text her.
Okay. Then we're
Sorry.
fine.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. She just texted. What we got?
She's
What?
good. She's gotten his tiny fender bender.
Oh,
no.
crap.
No, like tiny.
Yeah.
She's sideswiped. I don't want the whole city to
You're
call
fine.
me.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm not saying she's at fault.
Okay,
in case.
let's start. Well, again, since like I said, the recommendations appear pretty close. And their neighbors, that kind of thing. Let's take one at a time as far as just talking about them while we're up here. But but go ahead if you want to tell us what you got.
Well, these are two new constructions. They do share a driveway, and I did have a question, just clarification for some of your recommendations on that driveway.
Right, well, let's do that when we're talking about the parts and pieces.
Okay.
I mean, that gets in when we're talking about it to rule on it. We'll talk about those
Okay.
things. Because there's probably some hairs to split there. I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. Okay.
What would you like me to say?
Well, I mean, basically, we've got
This
the
is
stuff in front of us.
summarization.
Two new houses, and you've seen the recommendations, correct?
Yes, sir.
And and that's part of that. I'm sure that's what we're going to be talking about. But anybody have any questions? Back up. I've got to ask the question. Anybody else to speak in favor of the project? Notwithstanding those already standing up. Anybody speaking in opposition? That said, now we start talking about your things you want to talk about.
Okay.
Okay? Because like I said, there are two houses we want to talk about these recommendations, and that should get us the bulk of what we need to talk about.
In style.
Yeah, go
last
ahead.
time.
All right, so the first one, let's talk about 2024. This is the one on the west side,
Okay?
the one that is pulled up. So the original concept is two separate houses. She subdivided the lots with a shared drive. One has a carport, one is just open parking tucked in. Roughly 16 or 1,700 square foot on this 2024. She's wanting, I mean, you've seen Nikki's work, 50 houses before this one.
Yeah.
She's always looking for something unique, something different. And her styling for these few on Weems are more minimal. Not to cut corners, the detailing is there, but it's more minimal in kind of, I'd say, almost a Scandinavian design concept. Clean lines, a little more modern. And then she always has kind of an element that pops a punch, something that makes it unique to that specific house. You've seen it all over other houses, whether it's unique colors or there's always some kind of design inspiration that she pulls from. This one, I don't know that there were a lot of comments other than probably the canopy on the front. I think her original concept was a traditional in form, and then have a couple of small, more modern elements attached or applied to the front, whether that's the porch or the windows or the canopy is really all she's playing with on all of these houses. Previously, she's been through this a few times. I think she took into consideration some of the previous comments, but still looking for kind of a modern twist on these houses. And just to note, they're remaining the owners of these. They're not just flipping them or selling them. So,
one thing just jumps out to me, and it's something we've discussed on other projects. We get a lot of we got the front elevation, nice gable there, and the porch, and the pieces and parts we see there. And then you go to the side elevation number 1 over here. We've got that gable turns into a truncated. I mean, it does the hip, and while gables galore are all the subdivisions and they're just like crazy. It's not much more material-wise to have the gable go straight back, because the other two secondary roof pieces will tie right into it just like they do now.
talking on this bump out on this number 2.
That right there, got gable in the front and.
Oh, I see. On the side elevation number 3.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was reading
Yeah.
elevation 1. If that goes back to gable, it's this right here that's gable. That
Right.
side piece, this piece still ties into it. The little piece still ties into it. Nothing changes as far as anything else, other than it just doesn't look like we've lopped it off
Right.
and thrown a hip back there. So that
makes sense.
that to me, physically is what I think would clean it up for me. On that part, I'm not saying anything else. Everything else is great, but I'm just meaning
Right.
that's to me one that jumps out when looks great from the front, and then you turn to go, okay, we got that stump again. We've dealt with this before, and we're trying. If you look at typical bungalows, whether it's from the 20s or 30s or 40s, there's this a lot of times a main gable and things come off of it, and
right.
very rarely do you have a gable and a hip together.
It's just a more conventional method.
Yes, yeah,
I agree.
yeah. I think
that's
if we're trying to stay in context, let's stay away from the. I mean, even all hipped roof is still not really contextual, on the other extreme. But anyway, that's Okay.
Great.
Again, I've had arguments with people, the material difference. What you're adding basically is the gable back there to fill in with something, and it's minor compared to the whole project. So anyway, that's my 2 cents right now.
My
So.
concern is the overall look of it and how modern it is.
I agree.
I mean, you're in downtown Conway. It's an eclectic bunch of architecture down here, but nothing looks like that. It's the modern farmhouse look that we're seeing built in like Winterbrook and Greenbrier, but that's not downtown Conway. I mean, even though it checks every box off, it still looks like a modern farmhouse to me.
That's not any different than what we see from. It doesn't look like a conventional craftsman style house, but it's done not as well as this has been done.
See,
I'm saying?
this was kind of the compromise.
Yeah.
to-
Well,
to
and
present.
to not argue with Emily, but of the two, that one comes closer to me to being, having the elements and
Mhm.
pieces and parts.
This one
Personally,
does?
yeah, this one does.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not knocking the other one. I'm just saying that of the two, if I had to, pick one or the other that was a little more, had, again, the front elevation, just the dead elevation on there is you squint your eyes and it's in keeping. I mean, it's not
Well, and I think the
I'm with
variety-
you.
Go ahead.
I mean, again, we have several of us. We
Yeah.
need to discuss it, but anyway, I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world, and that's not, you're not presenting that. I mean, that's not what we're doing. But
Is this architectural style, would that be something that was built when the city of Conway was being developed in the 50s? And
well, I mean,
Is that what
That's
you're
not
going for?
no,
I don't
know
that
it's not.
that's the
It's really
intent
not.
of
It's
the
more the
story.
30s, the 20s, and 30s is kind of our. Again, it's. I would just keep arguing that that front elevation and then the parts and pieces on the side are as if it was added onto over the years, and we've got, we could drive around and see several. I'm not just negating what you're saying, but I think it's I could argue. I am arguing that it's and I could argue. I am arguing that
Yeah.
that it's. I think its look is okay for what we're
Well,
asking for.
it doesn't, they are certainly will be unique to the neighborhood there.
Sure.
Nothing else looks like that. And I thought the whole purpose of is to keep the similar styles. So in the historic district, so when people moved in, they won't have a modern looking house come up in their neighborhood if they're expecting to live in the
Yeah.
But
historic district.
it's not like they're designing a cube, right? Or like an all glass house. It's still something that has contextual relevance to the
Yeah.
area. And I think if you go over there between Hendricks and Think Coffee and that little area, that has a really rich neighborhood and a lot of diversity of houses and a lot of diversity of form. And I still think that has a really rich neighborhood. And I don't think, and this is my architectural soapbox, so I apologize. But I don't think that making every new construction house look like the older houses is to match the older houses, piece for piece and part for part, creates a really rich, vibrant area. As architects, we want to,
Well,
add to the neighborhood and also leave our mark and also
Yeah.
kind of.
And I will say the intent has never been to, get a Sears and Roebuck catalog and pick one. That's what some of these houses are that, and that's fine. They've been here since the catalog was putting houses out. But like she's saying with elements, ganging up on here, but with I'm
no,
not
I
ganging.
rely on
No,
both.
with
I mean, you
with-
guys are educated in
on
this.
this one with the elements that we have now. I'm looking at the rendering, and it appears that there's no overhang on that gable. That starts getting kind of askew from the elements, if you will. It's not so much the pitch is fine, the gable's fine, the that kind of stuff, but no overhang. Where it's you're venturing into that Cape Cod stuff or modern stuff, and I would want some overhang. Just in that ties it to the history of things, not copies one, but one that's we're both architects. Doing some neat shapes that are just the pure form. That just gets me all I like that. But context, is what we need to apply to it. And to me, context would say some overhang, and I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm not like putting big eyelashes on something. It's just, but it's what is is contextual in that, in our both of our districts, is that. So that to me would bring it back to, you got pure form, pure, nice gable and the box of the body of the house and the addition onto it, what looks like an addition. That is, you drive around, and the houses we have as context here aren't necessarily that, but that's not, we don't want what's next door on this, we don't do that either. So we have a weird kind of gray area we try to stay in, and that means it can go every, several directions, but some of the basics, that you don't drive down and go, okay, oh crap, okay, there, it's just not that you should notice it either, but it's just that some of those elements that keep our vision, the vision that's been here the whole time, is to blend in a polite way architecturally, and that's to me, this one, and we'll get to the next one. That one is different. It goes further to modern stuff than this one. I don't know. I think that getting that gable back there, extending it back, and getting some overhang on these. And I'm not meaning 2-foot overhang. I'm just or exposed raptor tails or but something that does more mimic the context of stuff. And those are my two comments: overhang and the gable extension.
Something else to consider a little is the context for this block. No one's done anything basically on the whole street. She's
Right.
got 5 houses that'll all be next to each other. So kind of creating a little bit of language as well.
No, and I get that. We're not. That's not unheard of. Or that's not a bad thing. But
Well,
If I may, one thing that we talked about when we met together, that I feel is important that I would want y'all to hear from me is, I look back and I think my first home I renovated in Old Town was in 2014, so almost 9 years ago. And what drew me to Old Town was the unique architecture. You look around and the homes of old, none of them look the same. They all were creative in their design. And that's what I wanted to be a part of. My soul is killed with cookie cutter homes.
yeah, and that's
And so to me, yes, this does not scream, 1940s craftsman, but it is unique. And to me, that's what makes our Old Town special. And, I want to be a part of our history. And I think that, adding these new elements are going to be what makes the future of our historic district special.
when it comes to like overhang. I mean that overhang is for a reason. I mean it's going to your materials are going to last longer with some overhang. That's a maintenance issue that you're going to be dealing with. And that's why they're there on houses that have them big 2-foot overhangs.
It happens that the rock house that I'm
Exactly,
currently
I was gonna
working
point
on
that
does
out.
not have that overhang.
I know. Well, that was that particular style, but it's gone
and
now.
and I've owned 2 houses in Old Town, still own one that did not have overhangs. One was 1960 and the other was 1934. And they are built like that. And I think I'm going to say this is board and batten. This is 3-tab shingle. Are you doing 3-tab or architectural shingle?
I've got shingles, and then we need to talk about the metal over.
Okay, so the only thing I see really when you look at it is the front door, is a more modern front door, and then the awning over that. But the structure, you take it and put the hip roof, take the hip roof away. I think you've got. I mean, I've redone houses that don't have overhangs in Old Town. Several of them. Still own one of them.
That's fine, and I understand it. And I see them around too, but I don't know exactly what the guidelines say. But you kind of have to. We used a typical kind of set of guidelines that gets the flavor of things, and that's overhang is typically one of those in there, isn't it, or is it not?
I'd have to.
I know, so I don't have it memorized, but it's for everything that was just said, there's exceptions to it. That's if we'd have gone through every single structure and documented what they were and had that, we'd have about a 5,000-page book of all the nuances that are there. So there's a theme that kind of runs through it. And it's not like match the overhang of the house next door. It's just, it, I'm not going to argue for it to the
I think it's
death.
just a consideration.
Yeah,
because
it's a
if you bring it, I don't
consideration.
think
I'm
it's a
not,
requirement.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
demanding it. It's just suggestion, but it also maintenance wise, there's going to be some maintenance on that siding, especially being vertical. You know, the water doesn't shed the same as lap siding. So, you know, it's going to be something to think about. You know, so that's just words to think about. That's all. So,
I want to talk about, you had a question about the metal roof.
Have a little, very small metal roof that will be black. You probably won't even notice it, but I think it will be. I think it's critical to the design, and it's just that front little porch gable.
that
Hard to tell in that rendering.
That goes
It's
over
all
the,
black.
that goes over the porch, that goes up to the door.
is that an issue on your
And then
radar?
the little cricket that sheds the water, is that metal as well? It's shingles.
I think it's shingle. The only thing I think she's after is that gable itself.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't. It wasn't cited as an issue
Well,
in there. I'm not.
It's not on the,
Well, I mean,
it says
right,
metal
it's
roofing is
not-
prohibited
Oh well, okay. That's
unless historically used on the structure.
yeah. And we've got a.
It's,
new-
you can see it from the street.
Yeah, we've had people go and just re-roof their houses with metal, and
Mhm.
going, that's cool, you know. But it's not what we've had in the now. You know, over the years, a metal carport lean-to's been put on, or awnings over windows in the '60s. You know, that kind of stuff. So that it's not that metal doesn't exist or isn't, you know, appropriate necessarily, but it's like a metal roof on a house is not contextually not what we're looking for. But I mean, I would put it up. Everybody, it didn't turn me off. I mean, I would. That doesn't mean
Thank
anything.
you.
Hey, they already
That was
argued.
what I was most
Well, they're already
worried
arguing
about.
everything else I'm saying. I'm not. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, I do agree with Donna Marie that if you take the canopy, you take the front door off. Do you say canopy?
The awning over the
Yeah.
front windows, yeah.
Yeah. If you take those two away, it now becomes way less modern looking.
Oh, over the windows.
And that's
Yeah,
kind of
even
a-
on 2022. I mean, 2022 reminds me of that one you did on Caldwell with
Oh,
the
it's,
yeah.
it's similar.
yeah.
Yes.
And I like that, even though I argued that night over it too. And I've eaten my words on that. But I love that waterfall look that you're doing. But yeah, it's just the door. Well, I call it a
Have we
waterfall.
moved to the next one?
Oh, I thought we were doing both at the same time.
Well, we need to kind of
Oh,
finish it.
Well,
We're
do you,
just-
do you have any other
No, we're doing both. We just
questions
wanted-
or issues with the staff recommendation on this one?
let's-
I don't.
let's
I have
skip
one
this
as the drive
Okay.
itself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So
We
We'll have
just
to call
wanted
it.
Okay, what was that?
clarification.
yeah,
Is
some
that right?
clarification on the drive. She's open to shrinking that drive down. I guess the confusion is, are you looking for a 12-foot single drive that then splits into the two? Or is there opportunity to do a smaller drive on each side with like a landscape barrier between?
The idea was
Very.
that instead, because it's normally when you have a shared driveway, the intent is for it to be a single driveway that's smaller, it'd be 12 feet. But obviously you don't have a lot of maneuvering
Yeah,
room
it-
for
it
it to
won't
split
Getting
off.
in, I
And
think
so
that's
a
I think in
challenge.
this instance, it would probably be better if there were a buffer on each side, or just moved it over so that there were separate driveways.
On the
That's-
property line, have a buffer.
Yeah,
between
on the
two,
property
yeah.
line.
So there's a
Just pull
single
the-
island in the middle that's
pull them apart,
landscaping
yes,
and then
yeah.
pull them apart. Does
Yeah.
it need to go down to like 10 feet or something? You know, what we were thinking is 20 foot overall, but 12 still works
Well,
for
I
that?
meant like, for instance, on this western property,
Mhm.
shift that drive
A few feet over.
You can just slide it.
several feet over. It can still be 12 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, off
Just
the
to
street.
reduce the parking pad so
Yeah.
that there's some buffer.
I think
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Because it's not necessarily large enough to be
What are you
it doesn't
talking
meet
about?
the double requirement, and you would still be able to. When I reviewed that, I counted the on-street space in front of the lot to count as one, and then the parking pad to count as one.
So you can either park front to back and live with it, or have somebody on the street. You know, you got.
No, they're not parking in front of the structure. They're parking on the street, because we do not allow.
I'm sorry, on the
parking
street,
in front
whatever.
of the
Yeah.
building.
Well,
That makes
so
sense.
did you have a? I'm sorry. Did you have a number on the distance between the two slabs? Did you put? Do we have a?
Yes, there was a Basically,
2 foot.
2 feet,
2 foot green buffers on either side.
so a foot off the property line each way. And that also cleans it up if you ever sell them and you sell one, there's no, I mean, it's just off the property line. That's
Yep.
just, somebody put a fence in there and
Sounds
not
great.
worry about it if they need to. So,
So it helps with
That car park. Okay.
okay, so we've got, welcome Shelby. I'm sorry.
2022 is the east lot, and this thing is around 1,200
Can-
square foot total.
Pardon me, can we
Yes,
just,
sir.
let's just
No,
double
it's
check the
not the
recommendations that we've got, that we know what we're talking about before we go?
So what-
Because we're gonna vote, and I just wanna make sure we have those pinned down, okay? So, the number one's okay, the planting of the canopy tree, because you're taking out one or two. The windows 1/1, I think they're shown that way, that's fine. Fascia and soffits, which, basically, but that's their driveway, the driveway we're gonna have do what he said, you still have 12-foot drive off the street, but a 2-foot buffer between the two driveways. And then this 6 is one we didn't mention, but basically raising up the slab, not, you can do crawl space if you want, but raising up the slab where it's off the ground. Like that's another, typically they were, crawl space homes. So that would be the context again. So
One
I
of,
have-
them, one of them, she's trying to make ADA accessible.
it's ramps or, kind of cool.
Not historic.
Huh?
Not historic.
Ramps?
Yeah.
I drive around, you'll see some old ramps on people's houses. No, we can't say no ramps because of.
If it's ADA.
ADA,
that's we're not
ADA
gonna-
trumps everything.
No, we're not gonna.
Well, could we say the front needs to look like a normal house in this neighborhood and maybe have the ADA entry on the side?
Well, I was
Oh.
discussing this with Cody earlier. He did this to help, I told him I want one of them low to the ground.
Sure.
But he was saying he had a great idea. We could just, raise the driveway. So
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
Well, that's true. It's you can. I mean, yeah. Again,
the
we can
driveway
warp
is
the
so
we can warp the site in all kinds of ways. And if you meet it halfway, go up. If it's an 8-inch raise, you go up 4 inches on the concrete.
Make that
it's a
make the
4-foot
porch
ramp.
have more of a presence, elevated some.
Yeah, a 4-foot ramp looks like just a sloped porch. I mean, it's not that big deal if you kind of meet it halfway. So we're good on those. We're just going to we're going to vote on both of them together, but we're good on those recommendations. Everybody clear on them?
Is there a way they could delineate the gable from the wall on the bottom story of the house, just to make it look a little less contemporary?
No.
Okay, if you're looking at the front of the house, and maybe I'm not seeing this right, that like those board and battens, do they go, is that one piece of wood or is there a horizontal piece over that window? It seems
There's
like that's not,
Continuous board and batten, right? There's no
That would
horizontal
be
Yeah.
my
break.
And
That-
that's that awning that's over the window. I mean, that breaks it as far as
yeah,
visually.
I don't know. I think it's a really cute house, just not for this neighborhood. I would not be happy if this was going in on my block.
What about an attic vent up there?
I think that would
I
help.
don't mean just a plunk around one up there, but something like that. I'm just
Or,
again,
li-
this
or
is
a little window.
throwing
up there.
solutions we've had, or a window in the attic. Something like that. Maybe as opposed to we don't need a lot of attic vents these days. What we can do on the roof, but
It looks very stark.
it fills in a spot, but I mean that's again, I'm architecturally that doesn't make me nuts, but it kind of breaks it up a little bit if we do something like that. That's been put on recommendations in the past. I mean, it's not unusual.
So it
for us
says
to-
on here that the awning is a commercial style awning and that we should review the application. I mean, would you see an awning like that? I mean, you know how we're like against shutters because of the same reason.
Yeah. Well, I said a while ago, there's some still around, these shutters, I mean, the awnings that were put on, metal awnings, the one piece of metal high, one low, one high like that were put on windows like crazy back in the 60s when
I took mine
people
off.
were being talked into replacing their wood columns with the wrought iron stuff. There was couple of very good metal salesmen running around
Well,
town.
could
and-
you do a sunbrella awning? Awning over the windows, like I have at my house.
Fabric?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you can,
like
but
black
I
and white
don't-
striped. I don't know.
I
mean,
guess
if-
for me, I saw that as a nod to a little bit of a modern part of it. I wasn't that that didn't jump out at me, as far as that went. So
Well, it does look very commercial,
just at the window?
the
or every-
awning.
Well, yeah, I mean.
This is not a commercial area.
No,
It's
I
a
know
residential
it's not,
area.
but honestly, I don't think driving down the street, seeing that will make it seem like we're in a commercial zone or anything.
And
Like
even if it was built out of wood, it would still have a break metal flashing around it, so it'd still look same as
you'd
your
need-
trim up top.
You need some metal for flashing, need some things,
Yeah.
maybe not completely, but it would have I mean, built out of wood, it'd look exactly the same, really, just wouldn't weather the same. So I don't know what, that, and if we start getting into, okay, you should do it this shape or that shape, and again, like I said, I think that didn't jump out at me as being against anything we're trying to do, really the same as
I
like
have a
that
question.
gable.
When I've, new construction makes me nervous. I like my old homes. But in this process, if I get to that point and I don't think it needs the awning, is that okay to leave it off?
I'm not, well, we're not gonna force you to put it on.
Okay, I didn't know.
But if we approve it like it is,
Then
the
I have
awning's
the
okay
option,
if we do
yeah.
that. And then, but if you don't put it, you won't, there's not gonna be the awning police coming around, making you put one on. That's not the intent of what we do either.
One thing I'll add in the context of reviewing this, from a staff perspective, the guidelines for the overlay district didn't necessarily confuse preservation in the context of the Robinson district and the idea of design guidelines in the context of the Old Conway design overlay district. One is guided towards preservation, one is guided towards design. And there are various areas throughout the Old Conway design overlay district that definitely have streets that have, traditional styles that have quite a bit of detailing and design. In reviewing this one, this street really doesn't. And so that is part of the reason why this was reviewed in that is, in looking at it, you've got a lot of minimal traditional structures that don't have much in the way of detailing, that are relatively small, where this is not necessarily disrupting a pattern of the way that street has developed, or the way that one might read it when they go down it and look at it, just simply because there's either parts of it that have not developed,
Right.
or there are not necessarily structures that we would say, those are contributing in a way of really defining the architecture of this area.
And this would have a whole different group of recommendations and review comments in the ACP Robinson district than this, because of what you just said. So, I mean, we do have apples and oranges as far as that goes in general. So, and that's kind of where some of my comments were leaning to that, in that the awning or the metal roof, while it's not, I've always taken the metal roof comment or the guideline as on an existing house, don't slap a big metal roof on it. Now, I guess we could talk about a new house having a total metal roof. That's probably would be anti what we want to, but a awning / porch cover, that I don't know, that's not as, to me, as critical, so that I'm in favor of those being okay. The gable was the one that's the form that got me, that I'd like to. That doesn't matter, overlay or ACP Robinson. That's just, we can keep the pure form of that. It'd be great, but so
Massing front to back.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. And I think on this house, I mean, again, architect, I can't help myself a little bit, but like the gable is the move, right? The big gable on 2024. So I almost think that the triple window and the little eyebrow over it kind of fights a little bit with that vertical form. And so maybe if we, and again, not to say that this is what you have to do, if there was a double window and they were taller, like really exaggerate that height and kind of celebrate that whole gable thing, that might be, it might help the proportions of the front elevation a little bit better.
and again, this is something I do this thing where you sketch and sketch and sketch. You know, a single window, kind of, you know, tallish, that's an attic window above that might take care of that issue too. You know, so.
Something more
Let's look at-
vertical.
Yeah, because looking next door, because again, they're gonna be right next door to each other. So I like that this one's tall, and then this one on the one,
Yeah.
2022 kind of has all these folded planes. And so I kind of like the
Yeah.
conversation between those two that way.
I think, yeah, what Liz said, you know, if the ceiling height allows it, you know, taller windows, that's fine, but also a single, not real wide, but a single window, attic window might handle
Mhm.
that thing. I don't think it's gonna take away from the form. You know, it's gonna, I mean, with glass, it's gonna, you know, kind of help pop it a little bit. So, yeah, look at that elevation. That's the kind of, it's just, it's like, I like the vertical stuff. I like the angle of the roof. Just need, you know, something. When I said a vent, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is a round, you know, it's like, that doesn't, you don't want that there,
Mm-mm.
you know, but something in the window is, I think, maybe more in keeping with getting that.
Or even
that
just breaking
overall-
up that horizontal between the porch on the gable porch over the front porch, gable roof over the front porch, and then if that eyebrow was a little bit higher, so we kind of played with that
Or if the
line.
edge of the porch went over and turned into the overhang over the window. But we're getting into the weeds of it.
So are we gonna vote on this one separate since we've
Well, I
talked
think,
longer
no, I
than-
think,
We need to.
let's,
bumping it around?
well,
Let's do them separately. I think that's gonna be a mess trying to tie them together.
yeah,
But at this point, we're done with
Yeah.
24. We might as well just.
yeah, well, we've just said several things. We didn't say yes or no on it. You know.
Well, I was going to have you state your roof because I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. The main gable, front gable needs to continue as a gable to the back of the house. That's all. Change from the hip that's on
Thank
that
you.
backside to a gable. And that to me, that the form, you've not sacrificed anything. If nothing else, that form has continued all the way through, and you see that spine, you know, all the way through. And there's something to that, in my opinion.
So we need to add that to the recommendations, and then we need to add some sort of attic window above the canopy.
To me, that would.
Can we say either the vent
Well,
or
yeah.
taller windows?
I think so. Yeah, I wasn't saying no. You know, I said the vent just because something needs to be up there, but and again, it won't mess with that. Really, it's kind of a pure form, that gable and everything. I don't think it'll mess with that. It just gives it some texture. That I like the board and batten, but I think breaking up a little bit would be beneficial.
It's interesting. I think everybody has an opinion on that front elevation. Like you're saying it's the top. We're saying it doesn't look right with the canopy. So maybe it is like all of it together. If you just had something up there and
Yeah.
marry the two.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think the rest of it reads like it was a main gable house with that one piece off, and added that smaller piece on later, and just it looks like a natural progression of time, you know. So
What did we
I'm,
decide on the overhang?
I had my say, but I'm not. I don't want to. I'm not upset about no overhang.
No.
She's going to have to replace the siding sometime at some point, but that's not my.
I know there are a few with
And there
minimal
are.
overhang.
Yeah.
There's one close to Laurel Park, and every single time I go by that house, I think, why did they do that?
Well, it's a style. I mean, it starts with Cape Cod houses. They have
Mm.
none because I think they would have uplift with all the winds off. The nor'easters would take the roofs off, but that's not unusual. I mean, it's a done. You know, probably I don't know. But I would.
I
think
don't
more
have
with-
one. I don't think.
You might not.
Yeah.
You might not. It's you know, it's not. I'd like overhang. I mean, just for big, small, whatever, doesn't matter. But that's just personal. That's not applying to this. It was for a second, but it's not now. But no, I'm okay with no overhang. I mean, I'm not going to tell her, you know, don't do that because you'll spend money on it. That's you can do things to keep that from happening, from being a problem, you know. But it kind of it's still we're going to get done in a minute, I promise. It pulls into the modern stuff that we shouldn't be totally rejecting just because we're building them now, you know, and we're not trying to, like I said, not trying to match exactly anything from 1927, 34, or 62, but I think using the forms that they've used, there's some nodding to the older, and there's some you know, nodding to the kind of mid-century stuff, and it's being done now. You know, I don't. I'm okay with it overall. I really am, with a couple of things we talked about.
Okay,
So,
metal
alright.
roof.
That's already, I had my say on that. I'm fine,
I'm fine with it.
as the porch roof, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a whole house roof, we'd talk about it more.
Or an existing
that's a-
house.
Yeah. So, on y'all's call, if you want to vote on that right now, we can put it with the other one. I think let's keep them separate and voting.
Yeah.
Did y'all have any other comments?
I guess I kept them separate. I didn't put them together, but.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion for all this, the staff recommendation, but we're adding number 8, add an attic window or vent on top of the canopy under the gable, and then under the
On the front elevation.
on the front elevation. Number 9, the front gable needs to extend from the front to the back. And number 10, allowing the use of the metal roof over the porch.
Emily, can you repeat the number 8 just one more time?
Adding an attic window or vent on the front elevation over the canopy.
Above.
Above.
I just wanna make sure.
Above,
Okay.
in the gable. In the
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the gable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion with those modified and added additional recommendations.
Motion to accept.
What?
Is that what you're asking for?
No, I have the motion. We
Oh,
need
you have a
second.
motion. Okay.
Yeah, you made the motion.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, we have a motion. We need a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Yeah, I think we understand what we're getting, where and what the context is too.
Mhm.
You know where we're at. Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 2. We had 4 to 2. Okay. So passes. Yeah. All right. So much for doing them together. We'll go to the next one. So, all right. So now we're at 2022, and again, like I said when we started, the recommendations are similar, but they're obviously different structures by and large. Do you want to talk about it? Just what your thoughts were?
I'll say that the overall floor plan of this house is similar to the new construction I did on Oliver. I cannot remember the address of it, but it was more of a New Orleans style shotgun, but it had the pergola carport on the side. But because I don't want to do any two houses the same, I did the front gable different, and then again a little bit more modern on the pergola. But basically the same footprint as that one. And then, like Emily said, kind of mimicked what I did over on Caldwell with that waterfall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It
Okay.
is all brick.
Pardon me.
This one is all brick.
Oh,
there's
okay,
no
okay.
vertical.
See that to me lends itself to no overhang, more just because it's a sturdier material. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. I'm done with that one.
I think the overall design goal here is traditional in form and then little pops of modern. Says it.
Yeah.
I'm in
And
2022.
And I get that. Yeah, this one may have a little more modern pop to it, But again, like James said, where there's not this not to say this is not what he said, but we don't have a row of 20s bungalow craftsman style homes running down the street that we need to kind of bow to. But the form, the form again, it's traditional form, like you're saying. I get that. Is this one?
Are
The
you
gable
gonna
goes all
have
the way back.
are you gonna have the large 2022 like that in lettering there?
I mean, maybe not quite that big, but yes, they will.
Well, one of
go
the
vertical.
recommendations was to make it an 18-inch tall wall for it instead of the 30
No,
No,
inch.
that's
on-
on.
that's
That's
on
actually on the.
Oh, I'm
new
sorry.
one.
I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
I'm getting ahead. I turned the page one too many. Sorry, pardon me. Oh, okay. I see that on the wall. Yeah. Well, the postman would see that.
The department would love
Well,
it.
okay. We got the recommendations. Anything there that jumps out that you had an issue with, and we can go from there. The same driveway condition, obviously just flipped. Sidewalk, is there You're showing a 5-foot sidewalk. Is that there or is it required?
I feel like,
There's no
I
sidewalk.
think there's no sidewalk.
No, you stop it on the corner lot. You added a new one on that
Okay.
rock
I-
house.
we
and then
know
it
we
stops
have to
right
add
at the
it.
property line. So
Okay.
it
just
should be a
needs to
continuation.
it's just
This
the
needs to be
wrong location
continued.
on this one.
One was right, one was wrong. One you sent me the email before I'd already sent the first one. So.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna have a sidewalk across both and then sidewalks from the houses out to it. Is that correct?
Yes.
You noted that here, but,
It's number 6.
okay. Again, modifying it in whatever way you can for ADA, but the raising the slab up. And yeah, I think that'll work. Anybody have any, we're gonna let your name and address run through all three here, so you don't do it again, but, anybody have any comments? After what we just went through with the first one, in that we have traditional forms of pieces and parts with some modern stuff, it's, if nothing else, there's some precedent being set on the street with this, but not going totally, stark modern either at the same time.
Do we want to put a vent or window in the eave on this one?
So,
Good
so
catch.
small. I mean, this is.
It's a smaller,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
don't think
brick
so.
also, but it's a smaller area. I'm not,
No.
To me, I think visually that little I call it an awning. This little thing right here
Yeah.
takes care of that. in my
yeah,
head
it breaks it
visually.
up, and I'll defer to y'all, but I'm fine
Yeah.
for it not to have one. I don't know.
I would not.
I don't think we need a little window or vent on that front
Yeah,
gable.
or at a
fits.
minimum.
It's within your lines.
I don't have any changes on this one. I mean, I know I said I did last time, but once
Well,
we talk
and
through the other one.
One thing we've had a problem with before, and years past, is somebody builds two houses, they just flip the plan, and they're identical. Well, we've had to make them flip it because they had them both the same, identical everything, and we'll change the color of the roof. But this is not that. This won't look like, even if you did both 2022 twice, that I'd go cookie cutter there. But with one of them that's kind of a not opposite, but just a version of the other one, that to me cookie cutter kind of goes away.
And I know
so-
we can't talk about color. I know we don't. But my opinion is, like, personally, I'd rather see maybe 2022 different. Two white houses right in a row.
Yeah, I haven't decided on
Yeah.
color.
I think that'd be so neat to see like a light gray. I know we
Yeah,
have no
the-
opinion of that.
You're just expressing
I'm
a
just
personal opinion. That's
Throwing
fine.
my personal
That's fine.
opinion out there.
Yeah, don't even start talking about color.
I do have a
I was
window,
thinking that
some questions about the two windows. The front window, is that just a solid window?
It does appear so on that, but I'm fine to make that like a
Is it
double.
has that by the door? You've got a 1/1, but then that side window there is solid. And it's just,
And the front window is too.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those
Oh,
two
yeah.
windows are still,
I'm sorry,
are
yeah.
both.
I think that's a fair statement. I think maybe making those three windows kind of have a similar language, either in
Yeah.
proportions or structure.
I'm thinking a double like the one
Yeah.
under the carport.
And then I think the other thing with this one being brick, you have an opportunity to introduce a little bit of detailing, like soldiers over the windows and things
Okay.
that just kind of help a little bit.
Do
Or
we
add a
want
little
to
bit.
add that?
Do
It's one
the
of our
windows 1/1?
I think so. I think we need to do the
It's included.
it's part of it, but we
the
just need to-
non-recommendation.
yeah.
Okay.
But brick detailing though, if it wasn't already thought about, some soldiers over the top, stuff just to it's again, if you paint the brick, it's just going to be a texture change as far as that goes. But that'll, we could get into, well, if it's a half inch out, it'll have a shadow line. It's got plenty of parts and pieces on it to give some shadow and things like that. Okay, so the recommendations had they had the windows.
It did.
Okay, so the things that we just talked about are in the recommendations. So that's, if we want to.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to accept the recommendations as is, with also adding number 10, add additional detailing to the brick over the windows on
Just brick detailing.
Yeah.
Let's just call it that.
on just the front elevations, or you want the whole
Well,
thing?
I mean, I would say all of them. It's just that's what's
Just roll it
kinda
all the way.
What you do, yeah.
All right, so I make a motion to accept the recommendations as is, plus adding additional brick detailing over all windows.
At the windows.
Do,
Yeah.
do we
'Cause they
need
could
to
do
add walkway to
sill.
number 6? Walkway to street to number 6?
It's included on the plans.
Yeah, it's part of the plans. They just
Okay,
it's
you just in the
location
picture,
of
it's
the
not.
sidewalk, the main sidewalk. right?
Oh, yeah, I guess it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
So you motioned,
Yes.
I second.
Okay, motion is second,
We didn't talk-
and with the one modification, the brick detailing is all she's added
Mhm.
for the modification. Anybody have more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
So we got the 4-2 again. Okay. All right,
All right, last one is 1922 Weems.
the one I jumped ahead to a while ago, yeah. Again,
This
first,
one is the one most important to me.
okay.
The other two are Roy projects. This one's all mine.
Okay, put it on him when he's not here. Okay. Well, at least you have fewer recommendations.
Yes.
But, I mean, essentially, exterior modifications, I mean, I know that, I mean, that can be a lot or little or whatever, but, have you've seen the recommendations, I guess?
Yes, sir.
I'll jump to those first. Do you have anything to say about
I
those?
do.
Any questions?
Just a few. On this particular house, there's windows that I do not think would be appropriate to be the 1/1. I'd like to basically go back with the same style that is there now, but just get rid of the aluminum and go with something more energy efficient. And I do have several transom windows, so those would be the ones I'm referring to that I don't think would work as a 1/1. And I already have a transom window. I don't know if you can pull up pictures of the existing house, but they had enclosed a garage, and
It's the bottom left.
yeah, that really tiny window.
Right straight out in the middle there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right at the
going
end of
down
the
the
drive.
driveway.
Yeah.
So that's already, a small window, and that's because the floor's lifted up. It's short in there. It's going to be a butler's pantry. And so all I would like to do there is just go wider, but still have that same height.
You can see that compared to the front door. It's not even a full
Yeah.
standing room
Well,
on that front.
the slope comes on down
Yeah, it
past
keeps
the
coming
wall.
out
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
And then the other transom window is necessary because basically that whole front over there, I'm deleting the two doors. That was an obvious add-on that kind of looks like they just threw a double wide up there. So I wanted to take away the two doors, and where that transom window is actually bathroom, and so that is over the tub. And then on both sides of that transom is a Jack and Jill that doesn't lend to another place to place a window.
Basically, on the left side of that house is that existing carport, and there's an entry door
Underneath that.
underneath it. Right where that door is basically the new restroom.
Okay.
There's a shower tub in there where that horizontal window is proposed.
Am I also seeing that far left piece as being new roof structure?
No, sir.
It's a steeper.
It looks.
Oh, yeah.
It appears that way, but it's not.
It would stay how it is now.
Okay, so it's just an error on the rendering.
And all of her materials are already either horizontal or vertical for the aluminum siding that's there.
Yes, I'll be
It's just being replaced with fiber
keeping
cement.
the aluminum siding, and then I don't know the correct name of what is on that addition, but I've used it before. But I would
Fiber
like.
cement.
It
Like James Harden?
wasn't. It
It's not
wasn't
Harden?
though. No, it's some kind of wood. It was like what was on Cross Street. But anyway, I'd like to replace that with Hardy.
Like T111
Oh yeah,
plywood.
it's probably the vertical T111.
The
It's
T111,
like comes
yeah.
in a
Yes.
sheet.
Take it off
The
now,
4x8
yeah.
sheets. Yeah.
Take it off. Take it off. This one's an interesting study in where do you stop and start? Because they couldn't decide where to stop and start either,
Right.
apparently.
So that's my goal, is just to make it all look more cohesive.
Yeah.
It
Well,
won't-
one thing.
hopefully, it won't look like addition after addition after addition.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, and it's not that it was not a problem historically, but that over the entry door, there's a little porch gable.
Yes, I
But
would
we're
like to-
going to have nothing over the door now?
Oh, you're worried about my water, but.
No, I'm not,
I'm worried
it's
about
your
the
water.
people coming and going.
It's your water. I'm not gonna worry about it anymore. But no, I just, I'm not saying that's a good solution to it. Just, it's odd actually, but,
And looking at this, that roof line is ending right over the door. So not only do you not have a covering over the door, but you've got the water coming down off that little roof and landing on top of the person trying to go in and out.
Margaret's trying to worry about your water.
I'm talking about the people now, not the
it's a physical issue
construction.
that's there. But
Now that, yes, that could be an issue, but what's hard to see on this picture in that is that front gable is actually out more and the door is back about.
I know. You got
So
that front. It shows in the elevations the drawing with shadow on it. I can tell it's set back. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that front, the smaller gable is out in front of the bigger gable. The rendering, it doesn't look like,
And
it
the
looks like
door
it's
is
flat.
back with the
Yeah, I know. I
back
got
gable.
that. I can see that.
Okay. Yes, oh, I see on the
But that
drawing.
again, that wasn't the best solution in the world what they did, but it.
At
Did you put
least
it-
there, though, when the water's coming off that gable, it's hitting the other gable and coming down instead of right over the entry.
Or it's hitting that other gable.
Yeah.
It was inside.
And when the
And like,
leak,
Yeah.
if the water comes down, you can always address it with a gutter and like a rain chain or like a feature. I mean, like, it
Yeah.
could be a water feature for all we know. I mean, like,
yeah,
that's something.
well, and that condition right there, I don't know if you've got any rot in that wall, but that would be right where it would be. You know,
That would-
if
Yeah,
leak.
a lot of rot, but it was not there.
Oh, well, see, there goes my argument there. Take it off. That's a very awkward way it's done now. It's just
I
try to
think
avoid-
it's actually an
I think it's an-
improvement what they've drawn,
I
to be
I
honest.
agree.
think it's awkward.
I think it's
it
cleaned up.
looks better than what's there.
I agree. I think again, it's that stopping and starting. And when do you finally go? Just take it down, build something new. But that again, I applaud you for trying to pretty it up like you have.
I think what
I-
they've taken is a hodgepodge of an existing
Yeah.
structure that's been added to over the years, not
And
necessarily
not very
successfully.
not
and they
very
cleaned it up
sympathetically
pretty
either.
well.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm exhausted trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I
know.
mean, my
I think
mind
it
is like,
complements the property adjacent to the west.
Even our transom windows we've got. I'm not. A lot of times form does function dictates it, and I'm cognizant of that too. That's a problem you got to deal with a lot of times as an architect. You start with the inside, go out, or outside and go in, and you have to meet in between. I just wish there was something to be done, even on the face of the building that kind of implied bigger, but that gets weird too. The one on that little poke out piece, that's tucked up under the eave. I mean, it's the height of it, like you said, it's because that's a lower ceiling. That I'm fine. Again, it's stuff that's there. Pieces, most of the stuff, the holes are there, whether they're the exact same size. So it was already, the vocabulary was already put in the book, for that. It's just she's putting newer windows in them and things like that. So we're not introducing like just this freaky modern thing, a cube with slots taken out. This is just cleaning up what's there, in my opinion. So,
Agree.
I mean, I wouldn't, if it was a new structure, I'd have some things to say about the way it is. I'd wonder what you were smoking when you did it. But no, it's, sorry. No, it's, I think it's a cleaning of what's there.
Now, what was that window on the far right on the top elevation there? What was your reason for not adding another matching window there just to get some more window on the front of the house?
Again, it kind of leans toward that Scandinavian look that I was shooting for with all three of these projects.
She likes that it's asymmetrical.
I do. And that's where it currently is. So that window is actually where the current placement is.
Yeah, it's she's putting a window back where a window is.
no, she
so
was asking, why don't you add?
I know, but
Oh.
but that window is there
Yeah.
because there's already one there.
Yeah.
There's not one here, so
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's improve.
Yeah,
I
I think they,
I don't know. I mean, again, there's internal, I don't know,
That would be a
inside might not be a
situation.
good spot for a
Right.
window. I don't know. I'm not that, and, to a degree, we're not the inside is not our thing to deal with, but we deal with.
Well,
what-
I'm talking about the way
I
it looks
know,
from the front,
I know.
though.
I know. I mean, that's where like those transit windows, and it'd be great if we didn't have to have them. They're already there, and they're just getting them maybe a little bit bigger now, or something like that. But they're going with what was there, and that's what she's doing in the front. That's a hair I'm
That
not.
particular side of the house, I'm not replacing the siding, and so to cut a new window in
That would
or to
be-
shift it.
But yeah, that
You're
can,
talking
yeah.
about a lot of electrical, you're talking about a lot of stuff.
So I'm
Put another
gutting.
window.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's actually already gutted.
Oh, you
yeah,
good.
there's no floors in the home. That's how I
There goes
purchased
that
it.
problem.
Well,
But just to replace the siding, if I added or shifted the window over, would be an added cost as well.
Again, like I said, it's that she's willing to even take it on.
I was gonna say, I think you've done very well with it.
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about it.
I would drive by.
I
I'd
kinda
just keep
wanna
going.
live there
I mean,
myself.
it doesn't thrill me at all to think about messing with that house.
Can't talk
But
already.
it's almost like it's taking a hodgepodge house and making it, and don't kill me when I say this, almost like a creative ranch style, because it's long. I know it's not a true
Take it.
ranch.
No. I mean, it's a hybrid of several.
Yeah, it
things,
is, and it's the
No, I'm
best
not-
you can do.
without tearing it down. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not.
And that's
we
not
don't
gonna
demand
happen.
that,
So I
So
think her investment in a house that I think most of us would
Yeah.
drive past and not give second thought to is just a
Mhm.
See, yeah, Rory,
Mhm.
he's got it easy. He builds 2 houses. Everybody does that.
I'll
Yeah.
build
You're
on
taking-
it.
You're taking this and
Mhm.
doing something. Okay, again, unless there's an issue with some of the.
The only other thing that I wanted to ask in the recommendations, it said my little address wall
Right.
was to be no more than 18 inches.
Right.
I would really like that to be closer to like a fence like we did at Cross Street that was at the 30-inch. I
Yeah.
feel like the 18 is almost a trip hazard to be so low to the ground. So I'm just wanting to add dimension to the front of the house, and I'm thinking actually shifting that over in front of that the double window there, just almost to create kind of like a courtyard.
Yeah, I don't know if the thinking behind it was it's going towards sign issues, sign ordinance type stuff, because it's working like a sign.
No, I
Is
just
that-
read the regulations. It said 18 inches.
Okay.
No, it's
Yeah.
a regulation, so
Yeah, I
it
mean,
can't.
yeah, in the
Is
books.
that a freestanding wall that the
Almost-
address
I
is
mean,
on?
I think of
You
it
can
more
call
as
it a
a
wall,
fence.
yeah,
If we
or a
call it a
fence, yeah.
fence. And, if the fact that I put my numbers on there, I can move my numbers, but I just would like, I'm going to take down the picket fence, and so I just would like.
Yeah,
Can it be a landscape wall that like if we're building a court in the front anyways? That would be allowed, right?
well, if
Like
it's
if we
more than
turn this
just what
into a
that
true
looks
court?
like a monument sign.
Right.
So could it be a
and
planter?
if it was a wall, I mean, if it was an enclosure,
Right.
that would, I mean,
Or
I,
if
it's
it
different,
wasn't if I used wood and made it more,
but am I right? If it was an enclosure more than just a thin monument sign type thing, is that make
Like
it
if they
different?
put a.
Yeah, the regulations say
Put it, ran it to the
4 foot
wall.
height
Yeah, I
on
liked
fencing
her
in the
idea of
front,
moving it
6 in
over.
the rear, with upper 2 feet of transparency.
She wanted to move
If it's a wall,
it
walls are
to,
limited to 12 to
like
18
move it over to be in
inches.
front
So-
of her.
so the
and
single
then
piece,
create
Like
a
a
rock
wall
garden
slash
there or
sign
something.
type
Yeah,
thing,
you could put a-
18
I like
inches.
Yeah.
If you want to do an
I like that
enclosure, a 2-wall, with open
Mhm.
on at 2 corners, something like that, you could 4 feet if you want to.
But
you have
yeah,
room.
I think what the intent of the regulations that if there's a brick wall, that the brick portion of it be limited to 12 to 18 inches, and if you did
something on top of it.
fencing or some type of material on top, that can go up to 4.
And you, looking at the site plan, if you came out right to the right of the entry door to those
Let it turn back.
and
You've
come
created
out and
that
turn
entry
back,
for it.
and you've got your that to me is a little courtyard. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Do we need
And that
to
would
have
look
a
good if you
sidewalk
put
to
some
the
rocks or
street?
something in there.
and
And make that a courtyard, put some rocks
I
in
really
there.
like that.
Put some white rocks or something in there.
So did we was there ever a desire
What
or
about-
intention
I
to
don't know.
put a sidewalk to the street? Because like they're saying, if you pull that wall over and then kick it back towards the front, then their concrete pavers might go out towards the street. So then that kind of makes this courtyard in like a little,
So
She's
it would
saying like
go,
this.
I was saying close
like
the
that.
concrete pavers that is there. And it's, okay. Okay.
Blew
Sorry.
my
She
mind.
was
I think
removing
the
it.
main reason I didn't make a comment about the walkway going to the street is there's no sidewalk and they don't have a sidewalk requirement.
Okay. So there's, yeah. So they don't have to, so yeah, just a driveway and make it to the.
So did they have to put in one?
Just what you're saying, they
But
don't
no,
have to.
no, sidewalk requirements are enforced with new structures.
I'm sorry, I. was
Existing.
not-
So you don't need a
Okay.
sidewalk. We were asking about sidewalk, if, you know, if we're closing this and yeah, where's the sidewalk? It's not required. It's not there, but it's not a new structure, so you don't have to do it. So that's why it's not a comment. If you want, not to say you can't put one in if you want to, but the street sidewalk that's always required to do new structure, whatever, it's not required in this one, according to guidelines. So-
Yes.
You know, to me, an L-shaped wall that encloses those steps, the paving stones, if that's now a fence or whatever, it's you know, enclosure, then you've got some play with dimension.
I like that.
So, see, we're
One
good.
more thing to bring up
good
is
for
there's
something.
this existing garage in the back, kind of out there by itself.
Oh, way back in the back.
Yeah. There's no driveway or access to get to it. Is there any opposition to putting a drive back to it?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me to tear it down.
Oh, she is relocating one of the sheds back there to a different property.
Okay.
But
If you're taking those two trees out right there, correct? That are on the way back there,
They were real small.
yeah, I think they're
8-inch and a 10-inch.
yeah, one's 6 inch, one's 10 inch.
6, I'm
and I
sorry.
think that was this the one that had the dead one? The dead one was in the front yard. There's a complete dead tree in the
Oh,
front yard.
sure. Well, if those two were,
I just think that would help get parking in the back. I'd
but
prefer.
I mean, if you're getting access to the garage, I don't,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, right?
that was my next question is where do the cars
It's in the
park?
back. I mean,
Is it-
nobody's
Yeah.
gonna see it.
Currently, there's a carport
Yeah.
in the front, and I'm taking that down. So,
And she's reducing the driveway from 24 feet down to 12. She's taking
Yeah.
out half that existing driveway because
I
it
mean,
comes right to that pantry area with the weird.
Yeah, I don't know if
ceiling.
we need to put that on the recommendations to provide the.
Yeah,
thing,
I
but-
mean, you could, certainly something like a ribbon driveway, I think would be more
Yeah.
than fine.
We could put that on the recommendations just to note it, and then there was, well, with the change of the wall, they're gonna need to submit the revised stuff to them anyway. If that's on there and it's not an issue, we're fine, right? Okay. So do a driveway, and like you're saying, ribbon would be preferred. That's, you know, it's less concrete too, but that and the wall correction out front, I think those are the two things that we've either added or
Okay, so
modified.
I'll make a motion to keep 1 through 5, and I'm keeping it in case she wants to keep the wall. You know, I don't want to get rid of that, but then also adding, if number 1 were to change, that we could change it to have an L-shaped wall to enclose the courtyard. Now, is that okay?
I just
Okay.
added an addition to number
Okay.
1, like
Okay.
maintain, if it's
That'd be
maintained
easier.
as a
She's
front
done that
address
before.
wall, must be limited to 18 inches, and then semicolon, allow L-shaped.
but if it's a
yes.
courtyard,
Yes.
then I can still put my.
Turn the corner with it, you've got a
Yes.
fence. If you keep it
Yeah.
flat, you've got a wall.
Shelby, you want to read what you have, and we'll just make that a motion?
Yeah, just for number 1, if maintained as a front address wall, it must be limited to 18 inches in height. Like I said, semicolon, allow an L-shaped fence to create a courtyard in front of the double windows on the front elevation.
It'd be a nice
Second.
walk
That's
to
the
the
motion.
front door
I
too,
like
just
it.
to contained and, you know, that'd be kind of nice.
I second if that's
I was
the.
going to amend it.
or-
Okay, we've got a second. We can still,
So I was going to amend it to add the ribbon drive to the east side of the property,
Oh.
if necessary.
to the garage,
Mhm.
existing garage. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're adding one
Yes, now
Yes,
I'm
number
adding it to number
6.
6.
Okay.
And if you're going consistent with what she's proposed for the windows, you'd need to modify number 2.
It is correct.
Delete number 2.
The no box windows are allowed. is how it's written.
We were okay with everything, right? Was everybody okay with everything? Yeah, I think we,
the
we,
no bucks
we
windows
worked around to being okay with the windows where
Okay.
they were, because they're basically existing holes.
Mhm.
And so number 2 is deleted. Is that correct?
Emily, go ahead and make that.
Yes,
in
and
your
number 2 is
amendment.
deleted.
Okay, so with that, you made the motion, you're okay with that? You made the
Yes.
second, are you okay with that? Okay, so we have everybody on the same page, or at least 2 pages here. Any more discussion? Any more revisions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Who was the next?
No, you're consistent. So you've got 3 approvals here.
Excited.
and-
Thank y'all so much.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
That, again, this was, let's combine them, that'd be easy. That was stupid. But,
What were you
I
thinking?
don't know what I was thinking. I thought I'll cut off all kinds of time, but the normal process, the COAs, when they get that stuff processed, the permits will have it, and y'all will have it, and have fun.
All right.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye.
All right, next one up. It's the last one left.
Come on up.
I have to
Yeah.
recuse myself,
Yes,
so I'll
Yep.
hang out.
Yeah, you can offer discussion, but you can't, don't you dare vote.
I'm not.
All right, name and address, just in
Yes.
case you forgot what I told you about an hour ago.
Oh, yes. Joanna Napholtz, 1335 Brookfield. And this is a project that we have already brought to the Historic Commission. We brought it before that we sent the project out to bid. And come to find out, standing seam metal roof was cheaper than an asphalt roof in this condition. So by
I
quite a
would be
bit.
shocked.
I know. Well, it has to do with, we've got an exposed structure on the glue lamp structure on the inside. And so the insulation and all that good stuff.
The
We
roof,
didn't.
the roof membrane itself. is-
Yes,
yeah, sure. I
so
get
it was
that.
actually all the pieces that kind of made it whole. So we are asking if we can put a standing seam metal roof. It'll be similar in color, so the rendering should look very similar. It'll just be lines instead of shingles.
That won't be silver.
No, no.
Yeah, there's
And
there's
it'll
color
be
choices.
standing seam, so it's not an exposed fastener or anything like that.
Nice, the lovely ribs going up and down. Yeah. That was there weren't any recommendations. Staff recommends approval. That
Do you
was-
want to see if anyone's out there opposing?
I could. For the
Just trying to be
record, is there anyone else to speak in favor? It's your time if you want to speak.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
Okay. Anybody to speak? I hate asking to an empty room. Anybody speak in opposition? Okay, now.
Make a motion to approve the project.
I second the motion.
Yeah, just as a comment, I wouldn't have been surprised if y'all had come with it the first time, just because
So
that's
we
kind of
did, but we knew we were low on budget, and so we thought shingle would be
you were
cheaper.
wrong. You were wrong though, weren't you?
Yeah,
That's the
come
one
to
we
find
were
out.
looking
I know. It
It's
is,
not.
and it could change when it comes time to
Exactly,
order it
so
too.
it was when we
Well, if
bid
we've
it.
approved,
Hurry
if
up
we've
and
approved
get it
shingle,
ordered.
if we've approved shingle and approved this, you have your choice when the budget.
Yeah,
and the bid
flexibility.
comes in. Yeah.
And
All right.
exactly.
So, the motion's to accept it as the roof change to metal,
She's second.
and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Not this time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
So
Should
we'll
let
give you
her
a
go
chance.
first.
Picking on you. You
Uh-uh.
We should let her go
Yeah,
first.
sorry,
know.
Joanna. We
Yeah.
just let you go
I don't know why you didn't
first.
suggest going first, but anyway. Okay, we have a couple of things on here that are normal year-end things. The scheduled meeting dates for next year, which, typically it's the fourth Monday, correct? And that, there it is. We have to approve it technically. So,
The only thing that stands out to me would be December 27th.
Yeah.
well, we could wait till November to schedule. No, well, maybe October to schedule it or something, but.
And that's fine. I just wanted to.
Well, it's better than a week before.
Yeah.
The Monday before.
That is true.
Well, we need to do it with people that might apply in December to know it when they apply.
That is
Right.
also a valid point.
So November
Yeah.
would probably be the latest time to do it, is my opinion. So
Okay.
we could just put an asterisk, there's a number 4 by, or no, what's that mean? Meeting moved due to Christmas. Oh, yeah, so it should have been, it's already been moved because of Christmas, but
I
It's
think
Christmas is
an
a Monday.
alternative would be the 19th, if you wanted to set it on the 19th.
Could you do it that quick? Or could they do it that? I guess they could do it that quick.
it's special, I mean, it's Christmas.
Right.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah, we could change it to the 19th right quick on the third Monday instead of the fourth.
That's the third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday.
we
What the
sure?
heck? Where'd that come from? Okay,
That's so we don't have a conflict.
like planning commission or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, so December 25th falls on a Monday
Right.
and so you were saying the 27th.
Right. Let's push it back.
Mm-hmm.
And we Tuesday.
Yeah, I'd
would
rather
not-
do the week before.
Tuesday would not be a
Yeah.
conflict. Monday be a conflict with planning commission, correct? That Monday before.
Mm-hmm.
So if we did it on Tuesday, we're not conflicting with anybody, and we're as late as we really can be in a month.
When does the city meet? Don't they meet on Tuesday?
But they usually go one
They
time,
go one meeting. A
Oh,
month,
okay.
or
Yeah.
One meeting a month, and
like November, December, isn't it? Something like that, yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
that-
recommending December 19th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd entertain that too. We'll go with that. So. we need to make a
So
motion or
well, before we do that, the other one, November, Thanksgiving is the 23rd. So I think that 27th is fine.
That's like now.
It's just like, yeah, just
Yeah,
like now.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll make a motion to move our December meeting in 2023 up to December 19th.
Okay.
A second.
And, okay,
I don't know about the application deadline.
I don't
was gonna
think
say, do-
those,
with just, if you approve it with a contingency, the staff can change the deadline
Okay.
accordingly.
move it
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. All right, so all those in favor of the change to the 19th for the December meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. The other one, we've got right now, Marie's moving, so December's her last meeting. She's not going to be able to finish her term. Would it be like your last year in your term? Of your-
I figured it would be, I probably won't move till February or March.
Well,
but I
we
figured
we
it'd
ended
be
December
better.
though.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
it'd
why-
be better to know now.
Exactly.
That we
That's
got
why
a
I'm
hole
letting
to
you know.
fill. So
Correct.
that's separate. But is it is this your first term to serve right now? I think does it go another? I can't
It's
remember.
your
This is
first
my
term,
first
but
term.
It's my first
second.
term.
But you've got another year on your 3-year term.
Correct.
Okay, so you're okay. That's just
I'm year
clarifying
2.
Okay.
Is it anybody else falling off, James?
I am.
Let me, yeah.
Margaret decided not to re-up. She had a
Okay.
second term coming.
Okay.
Liz wants to go second. I think last time I talked, you did. Okay, and I me too. So we have 2 vacancies. We'll have unless somebody else is bugging out. So keep you. I mean,
Oh, I'm not
I
leaving.
know, I'm
I'm
teasing.
No,
Just-
it's
I love
just,
doing this. Just moving away.
Liz and Margaret for so
and Liz wants to keep on. So and Margaret chooses not to. So we have technically 2 to fill since we have a resignation basically at the end of the year. Yeah, it's best to keep it calendar year because that's how we.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So does it go out to the public and then we interview next month?
no. So
There's-
well,
We usually
been a
already did it
change.
earlier in the fall.
There's been a change in how we
yes,
do our people.
yeah. So it's basically already been advertised in October,
Oh,
which
you
is
did.
when that typically
Really easy.
occurs. The change this year is the mayor's office is making all the appointments. So there is no
There's
interview
no
process or anything
application?
like that.
Well, they've applied, but
Oh, the mayor's
the
office
way-
does the choosing.
The normal way it works is the
Okay.
applications for our thing, we get the people, interview them, and
so
make a
shocked.
decision. And that's planning commission's done that
Me?
too. But now the mayor's office is doing all the commissions, is
Yeah,
picking
all
everybody for all
boards
the
and
commissions.
commissions.
So
Do we have any applicants?
I don't.
I thought we had 2, but I'm not sure. That
Okay.
was back in October, and I don't know where I heard that.
Okay.
Since we have 2 holes to fill, 2 spots to fill.
So we really
So
can't
gotta
vote
re-
on, well, I mean, do we vote on?
I would highly recommend you go ahead and vote on officers.
Yeah, that's the only
Well,
thing we
yeah,
have
because
power
you
over.
do
If you
not
want to
want-
have an arm wrestling match over chairman, vice, whatever, but we're both going to be here. And
I don't want to be chair.
Would you like to
Lee
stay
as
vice
chairman.
chair?
I'm joking.
What?
Would you like to stay vice chair?
I would like to, but if somebody wants to step up, they are more than willing to.
No, I was just hoping.
We
Oh.
agreed at the end of last year, I would serve as secretary
That's true.
for
this is a
one
bigger,
additional
this is a
year.
bigger thing than the chairman,
Yes.
vice chairman thing.
Yeah.
This,
No, I mean, that's what we all
well,
agreed to.
yeah,
Yes.
I think that's more important to figure that out right now than chairman, vice chairman, because I don't want to make you mad.
I mean, I won't be mad.
I know. Please
So
have
far
a right
extended.
He just was not gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, that's true. We need to figure out a secretary. If we want to put it on whoever comes on new, that's fine too. But
Y'all don't want me a secretary. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
I mean, it's not hard to be secretary. It's actually easier to keep up with
I mean,
everything going on.
let me ask this: can we, in January, with 2 new people coming on, put it to everybody then?
If you want to delay voting,
that one-
it just calls for this for the term, the new officers.
Yeah. Well, I think TBD on that one, just because we have 2 new people coming on, and somebody may be. I do
Right.
secretary. I'd love it.
Somebody
you know.
might love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
somebody's
I'd
really
rather do
excited
that
about
and not again, nobody's.
I mean, I'm
jumping up
fine
to
doing
do
the
it.
notes in January if we
Well,
decide
I mean,
that.
if
That's fine.
I think to me
No,
that's the
if-
first
if-
thing we do.
You committed
Your
to
term,
you-
your term has
yeah.
your term
Yeah, that's
on
the
that
first
one.
thing we do. We call. We'll do the
Mm-hmm.
minutes and then we'll pick. We'll do a secretary and they'll start that. So I'm not.
But we can go ahead and do the chair and vice chair, correct?
We might as well just hold off on all of them, shouldn't we?
I mean,
Shelby,
I don't know.
You'd make a
I-
good chair.
Well, I don't know that the
That's
2
true.
new ones really being chair, vice
Mm-hmm.
chair. Probably. I mean, I'm not playing grab you.
I don't
with them.
know.
I'm
I don't
just
know if we
meaning-
should start a new January term with no
Yeah.
chair and vice chair.
Yeah, I think those 2 need to be filled in for this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
And
I
then
agree.
the secretary can be done by
Right,
January.
Right, just because of the dynamic of that one. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And so, James, when will we know? Will we get to hear it before the end of the year?
I would assume that it'll occur at the next council meeting, the December council
Okay.
meeting. That would be my assumption. I don't know.
I nominate Steve for chair and Emily for vice chair.
I second.
Emily, you don't want to vice chair, correct?
No, I
No,
want
she
to
don't want
vice
a
chair. I
chair.
don't want a chair.
She doesn't want
Oh,
to joke
gotcha.
about
I
it.
don't mind. I mean, his knowledge is just so much. Like, I would rather him be in the
You know,
driver's seat.
Honestly, I'm fine to be chair. I like being chairman. But I don't vote, so I'm out of. But no. I mean, it's not. It's be so I'm good. I don't vote, but I'm my role as chairman is it's not a powerful role. It's just it's the advice and stuff. And now with 2 of us on here, it's just been a relief on that end. But since I don't vote, it's a different dynamic, and I'm good with that. I like that. I'm not holding on to the chairmanship, but it's just it takes me out of the.
Vote?
No,
I mean, like, we don't.
no, I'm fine.
Voice
No,
away,
I
but
like
just
that being chairman
pigeonholing
and
you
the
as chairman.
the architectural whatever. Not voting is, I think, is good. Is my opinion. Always has.
I
been.
like when Steve gives me things to process as we talk, and then Steve always goes, "But I'm not going to say anything."
Yeah,
and then
but
I
it-
get to choose mine.
But it is. It's over the years. I've been here a long time, and I'm not here because of me. I'm not here. It's I've enjoyed serving, and I've enjoyed the confidence of given to be chair. But it's not a it's not voting takes me out of putting something of your negative votes. Nothing wrong with those at all. But I know
Let us make
no,
people mad.
No, it doesn't. It's just I mean we've all done that, but it keeps me impartial more in an odd way. I have my opinions, and y'all shot me down a couple times tonight, and that's fine. But it's just not voting. I don't know. It just takes teeth out of me to a point which I'm fine with. I think it serves it better. I guess. Does that make sense? Okay.
Pressure off you.
There was my acceptance speech.
Okay.
I mean, y'all we just have to vote.
Well, we
Had
need
there
to vote
been
on
a
the- on
tie-
the-
Do you vote in ties?
I vote in ties. Yeah, and I think in the time I've done this, the many years, 3 times maybe at the most, and so I don't. That's not a threat. That won't happen. But
Or
anyway.
we need a quorum.
or if we need a quorum, I think maybe once for that.
Well,
And one time we
my-
didn't have a quorum. We all went home early, mad. So
My question would be, Liz, Shane, and Shelby, are y'all wanting to step up to do anything?
I'm good.
No, I would like
Okay.
to step down.
I would
Well, I
like
mean,
to
we're
continue
talking about
doing
these-
exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm
So
gonna
then
say-
it's settled then.
Okay, well, we need to vote, and I want to say something too, but I'm not gonna make a motion to.
Somebody's already made a motion. Second.
No, we
Oh,
have a
I'm sorry,
motion
you did.
second.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay.
sorry, Steve.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
I'll vote on that one. I will say, as a group, and I've been here a long time. Y'all know that. Lots of people know that. But y'all are a good group. I really, there's been good discussions. Sometimes in years past, everybody sits there. As Dr. Hardy used to say on the planning commission, we're doing a lot of navel gazing. Everybody just kind of don't want to talk about this one. But everybody's been, everybody. And when you first came on, you're working your way through it. And I depend on you now to get those. It's just, I don't know, everybody has been good.